somebody taught you how to shrink yourself. And they probably had no idea that's what they were doing at the time. And they didn't do it on purpose, like you need to shrink yourself. But somehow, some way along the way, you got the message loud and clear that you need to be less. You need to be smaller. You need to be quieter. You need to be easier for people to digest. And you took that in and you believed it. And now you are operating as a watered down version of yourself. Welcome to Code Switch Rebellion. This is the unfiltered podcast for Black women who are done shrinking, chasing perfection, and performing professionalism in their own business. I'm Melanie L. Denny, aka Melly D, personal branding consultant and the identity strategist. This is where we talk about what it really takes to build a personal brand rooted in who you are, not who you were conditioned to be. Round here, we have real, raw conversations about what it means to show up with integrity, authority, and bold authenticity so you can attract better clients and bigger opportunities. Let's get into it. In this episode, we're going to really try to go back to the moment in time where that behavior came from. Because in order to unlearn it, you're going to have to really be able to call it out and pinpoint what exactly it was. Then we're going to look at some of the messages that you probably got over time that really shaped the way you showed up, why they became so much a part of you, and then how can we actually move forward in a more authentic way. Shrinking isn't always like dramatic, this big dramatic thing. So there's been research on social conditioning, right? And some of the research shows that kids internalize those like behavioral norms as early as 5 years old. Like they don't even know what's going on for real yet, but they know how to move, right? And these are not things that they chose. It was just the people around them carved them into who they wanted them to be. And then over time, kids grow up, and that's really rooted in how they present themselves, how they show up, how they act, how they move. I remember growing up as a child, and I grew up with 5 adults in a house I was the only child. So, I basically did what I wanted. And because someone was always there to save me, right? Like, I'm in trouble with daddy. Grandma will help me. I'm in trouble with mommy. Granddad will help me, whoever. And so, but I remember very distinctly that over time, my grandfather was really, really, really mean. And no one in the house really talked to him. He would come home and go to his room, and like no one would bother him. But he had a soft spot for me. So they would send me in there to go and talk to him. But even me, I knew not to be doing too much, right? I knew I need to tiptoe. Oh, granddad's home. Let me tiptoe around, And there was nothing he said. He didn't say, hey, y'all, be quiet when I get in this house. But we all knew, like, okay, if we do too much, he's going to get bothered and there's going to be consequences. There's going to be, yelling or whatever. I was very, very young, so I really didn't know exactly what was going on. I may need to go back and ask my mom what was going on there. But anyway, I just knew how to move when he was there. And I mean, that's a great example of how social conditioning just starts so early, right? And by the time you grow up and now you're a grown woman, some of these things literally stick with you. And you feel like it's you, it's who you are, and that's how you operate. But is it really? There was also a study done in 2020 that found that Black women are significantly more likely to modify their communication style and appearance in professional settings than their white counterparts. It doesn't just come from white folks, right? It doesn't just come from the corporate settings or, the white people who speak a certain way, and now we feel like we need to match that. it comes from our own community as well, right? Everybody got an aunt that says, hey, don't be so loud, right? You had a mentor, someone you looked up to that said, maybe you could say it in a different way. And these were good. This was good advice. Like, I'm not trying to say this was bad advice or they should have never did that. They cared about you and they loved you and they knew and understood the nuances of how you move and how people perceive how you show up and how you say things, how you look, how you dress, right? And so they were trying to protect you. And they were basically passing it on because those are the things that kept them safe and their ancestors safe. I remember trying to like grow my business and I hired this coach, black lady. She was dope. Very great marketer. And I was asking her at the time, this was a few years back. And I was asking her about how should I approach my Facebook because I got two conflicting messages. One was saying, selfies are not professional, they're not good, like don't do that. And then another piece of advice was saying selfies are great, like it's more authentic, it's more real. So I asked her, like, okay, what do you recommend? Because I went the selfie route. And she was like, no, 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 no. Don't do selfies. It doesn't look professional. So you're gonna need like, real pictures. And I was like, okay, bet. And also around that time, I was rocking a shortcut, right? Pixie cut, bob cut with a perm. And I had braids. And I was saying, you know, my brand is my pixie cut, my shortcut, but I have these braids right now. Do you think I should wait? And she told me, girl, no, you need to wait because that's not your brand. And so for some time, I would not post a selfie and I would not post unless my hair was, done in my signature look. Ooh, child. And in her head, she was trying to protect me, and maybe for the time, it was good advice, right? Because there was a period of time where authenticity was not the move. You had to show up online, perfect, put together, right? It was a persona, and I didn't really like it, but I was like, all right, I guess I'll have to wait till I take these braids out to do videos or content or pictures. And, that story is not necessarily about shrinking myself per se, but it was definitely about showing up in a certain way, a curated way to present myself to the world. And girl, now, I don't give a damn if what I got going on with my hair. If it's braids, it's braids. If it's, I wear my hair natural now, so boom shakalaka. It is what it's going to be. And I'm going to post selfies. And I also think, though, that now we're in an era where authenticity is going to be so much more valuable because of all the people are just tired of the facades. People are just tired of, you see someone online and then you meet them in person at an event or whatever, and you're like, oh, you look totally different. Like y'all out here catfishing folk. I got a quick question for you. Do you keep attracting the wrong clients or no clients at all? Something's going wrong with your personal brand, boo. And it's okay, but before you can fix it, you gotta really know what's going wrong. You gotta assess and see what needs to be fixed so you can take the next best steps. If you're ready to get off that struggle bus and stop winging it, book a digital brand audit. This is a personalized deep dive on how you're showing up online. We dive into what's working, what's missing, and what's really holding you back from those opportunities and those clients that you know you deserve. Book your digital brand audit today. When you shrink, when you play small, when you don't show up boldly and fully and authentically, you're going to attract in alignment with that. You're going to attract in alignment with how you show up, right? So if you have smaller price tags, you're going to get smaller clients with smaller budgets, In 2022, Forbes had an article citing some banking data, and it said that Black female founders earn an average of $24,000 in revenue, compared to $142,900 among all women-owned businesses. Now, y'all think that that's a coinky-dink? It's based on how we were conditioned to show up. And we took that and we moved it into our business. And now we show up with that same level of humility, quote unquote, where we don't want to charge too much, where we don't even feel like we're worth too much, right? We're not really worth that much. Who's going to buy this thing from me? All of these things that tell us that we're not enough. We need to shrink, and our prices also shrink, right? So it's just food for thought. And when you think about it, right, your level of visibility is directly related to how much space you allow yourself to take up. So if I am bold and I'm like, yo, I need space, give me space because I got something to say, then you're going to be more visible. You're going to demand more attention. So if you show up and you're like, oh, I'm just going to sit right here in this little corner, I don't need nobody to say I'm in their way. I'm just going to tuck in right here and stay quiet until it's my turn. Then your visibility is also going to be small. No one's going to notice you in the corner, right? And you see this all the time. It be the loudest ones getting all of the praise, all the attention, all of the opportunities, and they don't even be the best, child. And that's something that I also preach. You don't even have to be the best. And Black women typically are the best. We don't show up like we're the best. We show up like we're mediocre, like we're less than, just to say we're humble, just so we don't, ruffle too many feathers, just so we won't bother the folks that are in the room, just so that we don't shine too brightly and people feel like they're being outshined. We do these things at our own detriment. So what can we actually do about it? I think what we could start doing differently is really naming it. Think about it. Go back to your childhood. Go back to those moments in time when you realize, ooh, I better not be who I am in this moment. Let me tweak and be someone else to make whoever comfortable, to make the situation comfortable, to make someone else feel superior. Because that's what we're doing. But think about it and really call in that moment. Sit with this, y'all. Sit with it. Think back. Start writing. I'm a big proponent of journaling and writing and not typing. There was a study done about the difference in the brain when you actually take a pen or a pencil and write physically versus typing. It's a different experience. So I want you to go back old school, okay? Get you a notebook. If you ain't got a notebook, get you some paper, some typing paper. I don't know. Figure it out. Get you something to write on and write with, and literally write the moment I shrank was. And then let it flow. Let it out. Let it go. Get it all out. And things, you're going to be surprised. Things are going to start coming up that you didn't even remember. Okay. Because you never really sat and brought these things to the forefront. But this is the first step. You have to be able to call it, identify it, name it. And then you're going to say to yourself, oh, that's why I do this. So next time you do this, you're going to recognize that pattern and do what they call a pattern interrupt. You're going to now say, ooh, I don't need to shrink in this moment because that situation is not true. Because whatever you believed the first time you shrank is actually a lie. And it doesn't serve you. So is this conditioning talking? Is this me shrinking? Or is this actually me? And listen, you're not going to wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, I'm loud and I'm proud and I'm outside and I'm here and I'm boom, shakalaka, right? You're not going to be doing all that tomorrow. But You're going to need to start this process sooner than later. The quicker you start, the quicker you can get over it, right? So start today. And it's going to take time, y'all. It's going to take a minute. It's going to take time to recognize these things. And you're going to realize it shows up in so many different areas of your life. Because, yes, this podcast is more about business and how you carry yourself in your own business. But I guarantee this shows up in your personal life. This shows up in your social life. This shows up in your friend circle. This shows up everywhere. Everywhere, right? So you're going to have to work at this. It's going to be a work in process. So you may have been taught to shrink as a child. I'm sure some of that came into play before you even started school. But over time, it was reinforced. It was reinforced at school. It was reinforced in college. It was reinforced in the workplace. It was reinforced in your first corporate job. And now it's too late. It's already in there. It's ingrained, baby. We in there. And now that you have your own business, that's how we operating. That's how we moving. So I want you to really think about who taught you how to shrink. Because you were taught, you were conditioned, you were instructed to shrink. So thank you for listening. This was another episode of Code Switch Rebellion. And don't you ever forget, your identity is the strategy. Deuces.